the Air Force itself has officially admitted that flying saucers exist.
I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
When I first got to look inside the craft, all I can say, it's an ominous feeling. Right now, there's physical proof, actual crafts and technology from another world. That's probably the most important event in history.
Hi, I'm James Doohan. In recent times, there have been more reported UFO sightings than ever before. For centuries, these crafts have remained a mystery until now. The footage you're about to see is a startling photographic account that sheds light on the greatest question of our century. Are we really alone? In the past decade, over 15 million people have reportedly witnessed extraterrestrial craft. What's more remarkable is that contemporary science has ignored the evidence that for thousands of years has been in plain sight. Recently in Mexico City, millions of astonished onlookers watched as these and other craft hovered over their city for hours. It was the largest mass UFO sighting in history. Mexican officials even held press conferences asking the public to remain calm. What's more amazing is that these sightings are still occurring even today. These first craft are believed to be unmanned. They are referred to as probes because they appear to be closely monitoring our activities. This cylindrical-looking probe was videotaped outside Las Vegas, Nevada, where it hovered in the air for over 4 hours. The next day, the probe returned and was videotaped examining the power lines. Eyewitnesses described this probe as having its own searchlight. It hovered over the same residential area in Florida for 3 days. A similar object was videotaped in the skies over the city of Kobe, Japan. This dramatic footage was taken in London. After the glowing disc hovers, it lands in a parking lot and releases a probe. After the disc disappears, the probe can be seen leaving in another direction. This never-before-seen footage was taken of a probe as it scanned the coastline of central Florida. Clearly, we can see it appears to be intelligently controlled. The probe's 2 sections rotated as it monitors the activities of the photographer. And yet another water sighting. This odd-shaped craft slowly descends to the water's surface, where after pausing for a moment, it slowly rises and departs. Another probe-shaped UFO makes its way across the Florida night skies. The footage was taken from the photographer's car as he tried to keep up with the object. This videotape of 2 similar UFOs made international headlines. Eyewitnesses watched in amazement as these craft performed acrobatic maneuvers and even dodged an oncoming airplane. Cigar-shaped crafts were first observed in Germany in 1561. Since then, they have frequently appeared in UFO sighting reports. This cigar-shaped craft was filmed hovering in Rhode Island in 1967. A similar elongated UFO was videotaped in 1980 in the skies over Hagen, Germany. These pictures of a cigar-shaped UFO were taken in California. This UFO was photographed in Earth's orbit. Crowds gathered in Krasnodar, Russia, to marvel at this luminous cigar-shaped UFO. This dramatic footage was later broadcast on Soviet television. The armed forces received the order to collect and evaluate UFO reports and to only release misleading explanations to the public. But sightings like the ones filmed by George Adamski hindered military efforts, so the public was given explanations. In the mid-1970s, NASA launched the Viking probe. Its mission was to map the surface of Mars. Viking relayed back these pictures of unexplainable structures from the Cydonia region of the planet. Viking's low-orbit pass photographed these structures in detail, revealing several giant pyramids and what appears to be a face carved in stone. After close examination, the face measured over 1.5 miles in length. NASA was quick to respond to the public's claims that they had discovered the proof of an alien civilization. The official explanation for the structures was that the pictures contained missing data and Vikings cameras could not transmit the remaining information. Experts believe that this is the world's best UFO film. It was taken by Matt Lane Rutherford in Silver Springs, Maryland. Mr. Rutherford took footage after twilight as the disc hovered over his backyard. Scientists examined the footage and concluded the craft appeared to be maneuvering in its own gravitational field. On a morning walk in 1971, an Australian couple photographed this silver disc in flight. In 1977, a Boy Scout in Indiana took this picture of a metallic craft as it circled his house. In 1978, a terrified housewife in Spain snapped a picture of these UFOs while watching the sunset. This footage was taken by an Australian TV crew on December the 31st, 1978. This luminous domed craft appeared to have a rim around the center and two large portholes. It maneuvered at such an incredible speed it left this track on a single frame of film. No known conventional aircraft can fly at such speeds. In 1978, the United Nations released statistics showing that since 1947, 63,144 UFO sightings were reported. That's approximately 1 every 4 hours. Even President Jimmy Carter had his own alien encounter. While governor of Georgia, he filed this 7-page UFO report stating he spotted a glowing object hovering for 12 minutes in the skies over Georgia. The report was personally signed by Carter himself. From the parking lot of the Rio Casino Hotel in Las Vegas, Nevada. When the footage was enhanced, a disc-shaped craft can be seen with a dome on the top and a series of portholes surrounding the craft. In 1991, this footage made worldwide headlines. These two discs were videotaped in a suburban neighborhood just outside Ottawa, Canada. Both UFOs landed in what appears to be a prearranged site. This footage became known as the Guardian sighting. In 1991, eyewitnesses screamed as a photographer took this picture off Manhattan Island as a disc emerged from the river and flew off. This craft was photographed rising out of the water in Australia as it docked with a smaller dark object. This UFO was spotted in Denver, Colorado as witnesses watched from a neighbor's backyard. In the mid-1990s, startled eyewitnesses filmed these craft as they hovered silently in the night skies. In the months following, similar craft were videotaped on 3 different continents. It was rare that sightings like these gained much national attention. But President Ronald Reagan's speech to students at Falston High School soon changed all that.
Suddenly there was a threat to this world from some other species, from another planet, outside in the universe. We'd forget all the little local differences that we have between our countries.
2 years later, President Reagan made international headlines when he repeated the alien theme to the General Assembly of the United Nations.
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Startling new evidence that suggests that mankind has been visited since the beginning of recorded history. This is the oldest known picture of a UFO sighting. Or is it? The earliest recorded sightings occurred in Pakistan over 7,000 years ago. In this dramatic Stone Age cave painting, we can clearly see a human-like being wearing what appears to be a helmet, complete with antenna. In the background, we can see a classic saucer-shaped craft. Archaeologists discovered this 15,000-year-old cave painting in southern France showing disc-shaped craft flying over ritual hunting grounds. So many saucer-shaped craft were depicted, the archaeology team put together a catalog to illustrate the various shapes and sizes. In a Japanese cave painting, we see a large, luminous craft hovering over a crowd watching from below. Throughout the Middle Ages, we can also see evidence of similar flying ships. In some cases, the craft resembles saucers photographed in modern times. This fresco in a monastery in Yugoslavia shows a manned craft flying above the people below. This painting was found in one of the oldest churches in Russia. It shows two flying discs with on-looking faces observing the crucifixion. Much about man's oldest civilization, the Sumerians, remains a mystery, except that the remnants of their ancient culture inexplicably appears even today, and their preserved records show contact with alien beings. A recent crop formation found in England depicts two worlds in contact above the Sumerian symbol, translated to read, "The nobles with their flying starships." As shown in these videotapes, most of these crop formations coincide with UFO sightings. In 1975, the first documented contact case took place in Switzerland. A farmer named Billy Meyer made international headlines by taking hundreds of photographs and filming 20 minutes of what some consider is the best UFO footage in the world. The clarity of his photos and films, they remain controversial because he claims to have been in contact with the alien visitors. According to Billy, he heard a low-pitched hum as he looked up to see a silver disc-shaped craft descending upon him. He was able to snap off a few shots with his camera. 1 month later, on March 8, 1975, Billy photographed this ship moving along the tree line. This was one of the first UFO pictures to be analyzed by optical computer enhancement. An independent lab confirmed the photograph had not been altered and was considered genuine. March 29, 1976 marked the appearance of a new disc Meyer later referred to as a Variation Type 4 craft. Shortly thereafter, Billy was able to obtain metal samples from one of his encounters. This electron microscope footage of the metal samples was part of an analysis conducted in the United States. Two laboratories independently confirmed the combination of metals were intricately machined, cold fused together, and could not have been produced here on Earth. The most striking piece of evidence in the Meyer case is this film clip of a metallic disc hovering over a road below. In this daylight shot, we can clearly see the graceful motion of the metallic disc as two different cars drive directly under it. Yet despite Meyer's efforts and the hard physical evidence, skeptics maintained that the photos and footage were too good to be true. By April 4th, 1978, the contacts had stopped. Billy claims to have had a total of 105 sightings over the 3-year period. As we've just seen, it is possible for one individual to have multiple alien encounters. On July 11th, 1991, the world's most populated city was caught off guard. Cameras were rolling as amateur photographers videotaped a solar eclipse. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a disc-shaped craft appeared and hovered over the city for almost an hour. Its appearance marked the beginning of the most dramatic mass sighting ever recorded. Guillermo Arriguin from Mexico City was the first to come forward with this footage. When optically enhanced, it clearly reveals the rotating motion of the metallic disc. Meanwhile, 85 miles away in Puebla, a cameraman took this footage of a nearly identical craft. Split-screen enhancement shows the striking similarities between the two. Another witness filmed this craft. The computer enhancement reveals further details of the craft during the mass sighting. Of the 2,000 hours of videos taken, these 6 were picked for comparative analysis. All reveal the same metallic-shaped discs as photographed from the different parts of the city. This luminous object was filmed as it flew across the city. Optical enhancements reveal the craft as it travels at a high rate of speed. This UFO was videotaped from an apartment balcony in the city. The photographer filmed this craft as it maneuvered around an industrial building and vanished out of sight. While filming this car commercial, a television crew was caught off guard as they filmed a luminous craft streaking across the sky. This rare UFO formation was taped over at Lisco. Similar formations of craft have been videotaped in Florida and in Belgium. In one of the more dramatic moments, this amateur video captured a metallic disc traveling through the clouds as it stopped in midair and reversed direction. No conventional aircraft can fly in this manner. UFO were even present during their Independence Day celebration. A military parade and a massive air show commemorated the occasion. As jets flew overhead, a metallic disc suddenly appeared. When the jets tried to intercept the craft, it accelerated, leaving them in its wake.